wanted to, I could have changed the name of this show forever ago to Daily Shot at Ben Cherington. There's one thing he has done well. No snark here, no sarcasm. It was on display last night in St. Louis. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. Actual Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 2, Cardinals 1 last night at Busch Stadium. Boy, does it seem like they've won a lot of games by that score, or something right in that range, for the simple reason that they can't hit. In this game, they went 3 for 30 with one extra base hit. The only hit of note was Tommy Pham's 2-run single in the 6th inning that accounted for all the offense that was needed. And the reason for that is that Carmen Mlodzinski pitched well in one of those don't call it a bullpen game starts. 3 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. Bubba Chandler is the real story. 4 scoreless innings in his second Major League appearance. 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 Ks, was blazing the ball at 99, working up in the zone, working down, had a lot of stuff going. This was Chandler after the game to reporters in St. Louis, including our own Jose Negron of DK Pittsburgh Sports.
Yeah, felt great. Carmen did a great job. He knew he didn't have many innings today, and he came in and shoved it up their butt. And I came in there just trying to not miss a beat. And can't remember the name. I think the 6th is when we scored the runs. So shout to offense, but it's awesome. The pitching gets easy when you got 7 guys behind you that are Major League Baseball players for a reason. And when the ball goes in the air on the ground, not a doubt in my mind that the play's not going to be made, and kind of relieves the stress and the anxiety of a guy who just got up here. So it's really awesome.
Good for him, good for both of them. What it would appear is on the horizon for this team is a promising and almost entirely young, or youngish, rotation. And that's a good thing. There are no negatives associated with that. The only thing better than having a lot of starting pitching is having a lot of young starting pitching, provided, of course, it's projectable. And this group seems to be that. And everything I'm saying here, by the way, just put Paul Skeens off in some other category. I'm not lumping him in with anyone else. But when you're looking at Mlodzinski, when you're looking at Chandler, when you're looking at Mike Burrows, when you're looking at Braxton Ashcraft, when you're looking at Johan Oviedo, who's not old, he's just 27. And I'm going to throw in Thomas Harrington, too. I have a feeling he's going to be a guy that gets lost a little bit. He was highly thought of by the industry not all that long ago. He was one of those in-between rounds 1 and 2 competitive balance picks in the draft in 2022. So he is seen as a legit ceiling guy. He's been used some in relief, some starting, but there's arguably a roadmap there for Harrington to become a starter, just as there has been one for Mlodzinski. Now, put those young players in the same pile with the only veteran that you have in the group, that being Mitch Keller, of course, and then factor in that Jared Jones is going to be back from elbow surgery next year, and you're now up to 8 starting pitchers at the big league level. And repeating here that I would throw Harrington into that mix just for the heck of it. I would also point out that absolutely none of these pitchers is left-handed, so there's a very good chance that whoever would be brought in next spring as a free agent or a project type, or let's say if management hadn't made the idiotic move of just giving Bailey Falter away with years of control remaining, you would have had a very easy 9. Baseball executives have said for a long time that they like to enter a season with 10 starting pitchers. Now, when they say that, they're also including, by necessity, if you think about it, because they've got to pitch somewhere, their AAA affiliates. Well, the odd setting here is that most of these guys, maybe not Harrington, but everybody else, has graduated from that level. So if they were to pitch in Pittsburgh, they would pitch kind of like what you saw last night in St. Louis. One guy starts, another guy piggybacks, maybe they switch the next time, whatever. So reflex here. Gut instinct. What do? Well, you trade them. You trade them. You trade at least a couple of them. There remains no more valuable commodity in all of Major League Baseball than young starting pitching. And if you have anything that remotely resembles an excess of it, while at the same time not being able to hit at all, yeah, it's logical. Go ahead and do it. One problem. You knew I was going to get to this, right? What had I been sharing with you all summer long that the Pirates couldn't do in their current context, or to phrase that more precisely, couldn't be allowed to do this summer? Right. Bob Nutting could not let Cherington trade young pitching for hitting, and he wasn't going to, and I'd been saying that here repeatedly, and he didn't. What we've seen instead is Chandler arriving onto the scene and now having a couple of nice appearances. We've seen Burrows smooth things out. We've seen Oviedo look, healthy, energetic, all that Oviedo stuff. So the next step, well, it's the next step in every phase of every process related to this baseball team, and that's to get a general manager. Thank Cherington for the starting pitching, then have someone who knows what they're doing take that starting pitching, or even just a piece or two of it, and parlay it into hitting. You know, it's funny, people will laugh, and probably with some cause, at the idea that the Pirates are not that far away. Sometimes the players say it, sometimes I've said it. But part of the reason that I believe that is that they've had assets that were sight unseen, that were real assets. And it was mostly these guys, these starting pitcher types, the younger guys. If you have someone who can recognize hitting and who knows how to make an intelligent trade, let's just say that the hitters being acquired wouldn't have a hard time breaking into this lineup to show everybody in a big hurry what kind of a difference they could make. When we come back, J1Q.
This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern, that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Timmy, who says, DK, since we now have all the evidence we could ever want to prove that the Pirates think the point of baseball is to save money, and we now have several young arms to potentially crowd the rotation in 2026, how likely do you think it is that Mitch Keller will get moved this offseason? It really seems like he'd be the next move to me, and that saddens me. Let's go over some contract details first, Tim. Mitch has 3 full years after this one remaining on the 5-year, $77 million extension that he signed back in the spring of 2024. Those will pay him $17 million, $18.4 million, and $20.4 million. Now, as I've said many, many times, most emphatically around the trade deadline, this past one, that's the cost of doing business. That's just what you pay for a starting pitcher who can get you the kind of reliability from results, durability from health, professionalism on and off the mound. That is not an overpay. That is not exorbitant. And regardless of where that might stand in the Pirates world, Mitch has provided appropriate value. My strenuous objection to trading Mitch at the deadline, which I feel like based on some feedback was misinterpreted by some, wasn't, oh no, you can't lose him, oh no, you can't. It was all about the GM. It was all about who'd be making the trade. When there's a new GM, provided they don't just pick up somebody off the street, I'm going to reopen my mind to all this. Because if you look at Mitch and that 17, 18, 20 million, and completely setting aside here that Major League Baseball's economic system could be imploded by then, I'd still feel that his $20 million would be better spent on, hitting, more hitting, a lot more hitting. And since there's next to none of that in the minor league system, currently aside from Connor Griffin, the only plausible path to make that happen in a hurry is, free agency, making trades, major league transactions, those things that this guy can't do. But I'll also throw up a big yellow light here on this segment and the opening segment today, and caution that there are few things more fickle in the world of professional sports than young starting pitching. You can get misled, and you can get misled in a big way. So you still need quantity to go with the quality. I appreciate the question, Tim. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.